shots, la da da. And the world is falling to the ground. I'll be ready for the fire. Make it wild, let it free. I'll be ready for the march of victory. Make it wild, let it free. Never get it 'cause I'll rewrite history. I'll be ready for the fire. Make it wild, let it free. I'll be ready for the march of victory. I'll be ready for the fire. Make it wild, let it free. Never get me 'cause I'll rewrite history. I'll be ready for the
My past has been a mystery, and I didn't want to know, so I didn't ask. I have always had a happy life with my mom and stepdad. But things changed after they got divorced. I still miss him. I don't remember how it all started, why I first ran, or what kept me going. But I remembered the wind blowing in my face, the adrenaline rushing through my veins, and everything just got better. Something in me has awakened. I am not sure whether I control it or it controls me, but it feels right.
For years, we brought justice to our city. We made mistakes, fought amongst ourselves. Many of us fell along the way.
I almost admire your perseverance, Tyson. You and I could have been a great team.
You'll never put your hands on my research. This ends today. You need to fight back! Sonya is controlling you!
No, old friend. She freed me.
Okay guys, we did it. Now it's time to break into the Telosium generator room.
Telosium, huh? The powerful and unstable energy we need.
I must say, seems like a trap.
Not just seems, definitely is.
And we're going in like this?
Of course, we need energy.
And I'm not in the mood to recharge in an outlet.
Well done. Was easier than we thought.
Every time you open your mouth, something bad happens.
Ouch. That hurt. And remember, this mouth is ours. Do you know who the cowboy is?
Not a clue.
In any case, we agree that he deserves our best treatment, right?
My friend, we'll have to agree. You gave us the best gift of all!
scent of uncertainty in the air. I love it! Let's go! We relish making decisions. We delight in making our opinions count! And now that I'm in control, this game is in our hands. So, it's your call.
From the rooftops, from the ceilings, or a frontline rusher. Follow close, I'm feeling lethal. You better take cover. Make no mistake, I'm rising to the top, cause I'm leading my way. In line for or the edge of a blade. I'm calling all the shots, la da da. And the world is falling to ground. I'll be ready for the fire. Make it wild, let it free. I'll be ready for the march of victory. Make it wild, let it free. Never get it, 'cause I rewrite history. I'll be ready for the fire. Make it wild, let it free. I'll be ready for the march of victory. I'll be ready for the fire. Make it wild, let it free. Never care because I rewrite history. I'll be ready for the
My past has been a mystery, and I didn't want to know, so I didn't ask. I have always had a happy life with my mom and stepdad. But things changed after they got divorced. I still miss him. I don't remember how it all started, why I first ran, or what kept me going. But I remembered the wind blowing in my face, the adrenaline rushing through my veins, and everything just got better. Something in me has awakened. I am not sure whether I control it or it controls me, but it feels right.
For years, we brought justice to our city. We made mistakes, fought amongst ourselves. Many of us fell along the way.
I almost admire your perseverance, Tyson. You and I could have been a great team.
You'll never put your hands on my research. This ends today. You need to fight back! Sonya is controlling you!
No, old friend. She freed me.
Okay guys, we did it. Now it's time to break into the Telosium generator room.
Telosium, huh? The powerful and unstable energy we need.
I must say, seems like a trap.
Not just seems. Definitely is.
And we're going in like this?
Of course. We need energy.
And I'm not in the mood to recharge in an outlet.
Well done. Was easier than we thought.
Every time you open your mouth, something bad happens.
Ouch. That hurt. And remember, this mouth is ours. Do you know who the cowboy is?
Not a clue.
In any case, we agree that he deserves our best treatment. Right?
My friend, we'll have to agree. You gave us the best gift of all!
The scent of uncertainty in the air. I love it! Let's go! We relish making decisions. We delight in making our opinions count! And now that I'm in control, this game is in our hands. So, it's your call.
From the rooftops, from the ceilings, or a frontline rusher. Follow close on, feeling lethal. You better take cover. Make no mistake, I'm rising to the top cause I'm moving my way. In line of 4 or the edge of a blade. I'm calling all the shots, la da da. And the world is falling to the ground. I'll be ready for the fire. Make it wild, let it free.
My past has been a mystery, and I didn't want to.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, and this is a Free Fire USA Championship 2025, and it's the final day of the group stages. It all comes down to this, the last chance for the team to secure their spot for the knockout stage. Group B's 12 teams will be coming back on the battlefield, and for the last time or 4 maps today. Back in the Caster's desk, I am Neptune the Gentleman Garcia with my brother, the Mustachio AJ.
Oh, beautiful day once again, Neptune, in Malaysia, in the Philippines, in the USA. I think it's going to be popping off mainly because MTG, yesterday they warmed up and they were cooking out there. Today they are fully warmed up, and I don't know what kind of disaster is about to hit the other squads. But I'm also hoping to see a little bit of what we saw on day 2 from Group A, where some of the underdog squads, as in those who look like the underdog on day 1, makes that huge climb up the leaderboard on day 2, right? Today, I believe we've got a couple of more teams that are joining us as well. They failed to make it in time yesterday, so I think the lobby is going to be quite packed, which means also more potential points for these teams who want to dominate.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for those who didn't make it, like especially in the first few maps from yesterday, this is a chance for them to really bring it on. If they can run it like a T-Rex has done it, like imagine 4 Booyahs in a day, and because it's not that they were lagging from the day 1 that Group A was playing. It's just that they were studying, and that is what we're looking for a team. That brings a lot of excitement. If you're the one team who is evolving match after match, day after day, and then making it to the cut in the final moment.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I truly agree. And if there are any other teams out there like T-Rex who, and I don't expect 4 Booyahs, right? I think that's over the top. I think that is close to impossible for many teams. So how T-Rex pulled that off in one solid day, I do not understand. But it's all right. That's not what I'm looking for today. I am looking for, though, those teams that, like you just mentioned, have done their homework yesterday and are in here today, not to play, but to dominate, not to just go out there and try their luck, but to actually secure those points in a confirmed manner. We're talking about, looking for the circles. We're talking about dropping far away from the rest of your opponents. Yes, we do have a lack of group stage days here, which means we don't have them running through that exact map multiple times, where they'll be able to do their homework, look for drop spots and all. But we've been able to get, a little bit of information. And one of the key information we got yesterday was no teams want to take the high tier loot zone. And I think it's a loss, bro.
Definitely. I mean, starting it off, early drops, if you have all those loots already, all those weaponries, even like just the armor itself is a lot when it comes to beefing up. But before we go in any other topic, let's take a look at the prize pool. This is what everyone is fighting for. A total of 30,000 US dollars, and the champion will be bringing home a third of that.
Yeah, big stacks of money on the table. And I'm pretty sure if North America shows us much more than this over the years, over the seasons, we will see this slowly growing as well, right? As a teaser, we've got 30,000 US dollars on the table, and the winners of the FFUSC will be walking away with 10,000 solid US dollars. Group stage once again. Today's the final day of the group stage, like you mentioned, Neptune. Knockout stage next week, the 5th and 6th of July, and the grand finals is just that one day. So teams that are able to walk away, like T-Rex, with 4 Booyahs in a day, those teams are going to be, key to watch out for on that grand final stage.
Exactly. And right now we are looking at Group B, and you know how it is. Motion Gang did so well from yesterday. Not too flashy, I would say, but they were consistent all throughout, except for one map. CDG is there as well. We have 5 stars who at some point they did 5-star in terms of performance. So this is what we were looking for in a team. One Val didn't join us, Big Socks as well as 6 Locks, so it's just unfortunate that we won't be able to see all of the teams that we have in the roster. But Real G, we have NA Level F, who really needs to a lot of work in terms of their gameplay.
Yeah, and surprisingly on style as well. I mean, 2 out of 4 games we saw them in that final circle. But they are somewhere towards the bottom of the leaderboard for Group B, which is very, very surprising, right? Because if you're getting into the final 3 and you're not pulling away massive points, it means that you probably are struggling on the eliminations department. And when your engagements are a little weak, you're not going to be able to conquer a battle royale. But maybe yesterday they were focusing on looking for those circles. Maybe today they're going to be focusing on those eliminations, which is something I'm looking for as well. Of course, we saw Tonio, lots and lots of promise from Team Tonio, but very average in the sense of only one time they managed to get into the top 3. I assumed based on how they were engaging, we would see more from them. But hopefully today, once again, is that day.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of Tonyo, they are on the bottom of the 18th team that we have on screen right now. But as you can see, the gap, there's not so much of difference. So they can easily move up into the leaderboard, like catching up to the 18th or to the 12th spot. And because of that, what they did yesterday, finding final circle, identifying what rotation, who is going through their own rotation, then I guess that's where they can focus more on engagement and getting those eliminations. But another set of teams would be MTG, because they already broken through what Group A has done, as well as FVS. So, performance-wise, we rarely see this, especially on a 1 versus 2 days of battle.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And of course, if you look towards the bottom of the leaderboard, we see 3 teams that did all right yesterday, right? So we've got RG, we've got On Style that we just talked about, NA Level F. So this is something that they need to kind of ramp up just a little bit today. I'm not talking about the eliminations department purely. I'm talking about find that final circle first and then dance your best dance in that final circle. Mainly because what you want to guarantee for yourself could just be those placement points. Eliminations, on the other hand, it's always a risk unless you know for sure you're like T-Rex and you're going to be devouring some teams out there. But the map rotations today, 4 games once again in the group stage. Purgatory, Alpine, Bermuda, Solara. We keep the unsuspecting map, the brand new addition into Free Fire competitive, into Free Fire as a whole for the very final bout of the day. And I really like that. But then again, looking at the fact that, we are coming back in here with the pro scene at FFUSC after 3 years, I guess all of these maps feel like new maps for these guys.
Yeah, definitely. Everything. And it shows. It shows in the drop spot, in the rotation. We can see that, despite of only a few teams, we can see a lot of catch up in terms of engagement as they rotate all throughout the mostly older maps. So there's one thing that we need to, or that they need to really work on: survivability, even the firepower. But speaking of survivability, if you survive and grab that Booyah, you get that 12 points, and then the second place gets 9. It goes down by 1 up until the 10th. And for the 11 and 12, they don't get anything. So this is where elimination comes in.
And quite honestly, even if you're walking away with the 6th placement spot, 5 points, that's decent, but it's not great, right? You want to get the top 5 for sure. You want to survive until the final circle to get substantial placement points from this. And obviously, walking away with the Booyah is the tip of the iceberg, because you also need to back yourself up with those eliminations. Every elimination, you walk away with 1 point. We've seen teams like T-Rex just tear the competition apart. 86 eliminations from 2 days of play, and a majority of that 86 actually came through on day 2. So today is a big day. Unfortunately for Group B, T-Rex has already set the standard of what can happen when a team really does their homework, and goes just absolutely ballistic on day 2. I'm looking forward to something like that today here as well. But, fingers crossed we don't see a lot of mistakes, because some teams may think they can pull a T-Rex off and then they go out there and they get their heads bitten off. That's not going to be too good. So some safe plays, but hopefully not too much now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we love the fact as well that some teams do the adjustments map after map. Like, they don't really show up in the first map because they're just getting into the groove, the rotation of the other teams, even their drop spot. And then the following map, they have like a few more points up until the end where they grab the Booyah. So that's where some of the teams, especially MTG, Motion Gang, has been doing. Yes, they have 2 Booyahs from yesterday, but like how they worked it out, they tried very, very far from the drop spot up until the final circle from Bermuda. Even Solara, that's what they did, and that was working for them. And hopefully they serve. I know that we keep saying T-Rex, even Motion Gang, it's not a threat. It serves as a motivation for the team who wants to move up on leaderboard.
Yeah, I mean, totally agreed with you, and I love that assessment as well, right? And this is something that we were talking about on broadcast yesterday. Drop far away. Don't drop in the middle of the map. Obviously, it's very enticing to drop in the middle of the map, but if you found out in any of your ranked matches, it is not the best way to get the Booyah. But of course, we also have got some beautiful stuff for you guys. Yesterday, you had some redemption codes shown on screen. Today, we have more redemption codes for you guys as well. Only the first 100 players can redeem these items. Only 1 item per player. And these are all unique items. You cannot purchase them in the store. These are all only redeemable. So if you miss it, it's gone.
Definitely it's gone. And before we give out our code, make sure as well that you are ready for redeeming it. So go to rewards.ff.garena.com, and that is where you enter the code. So speaking of code, AJ, why not give out the first one for today? So let's bring it on. There you have it, and hopefully everyone enjoys.
Now, come on, man. I think production's just being too kind at this point. We have barely started the day, and we've got 1 code already, you guys. I hope you've taken that screenshot already. I've got a little grimace on my face as you take the screenshot, but yeah, you go ahead, key it in to the website Neptune just read out to you, and you will be able to claim this for yourself. This is not the only giveaway for the day. No. We'll never do that to you. We've got more coming up for you. When, you see, yesterday, I think it was very readable as to when the codes were going to come out. Today, we are not going to tell you. Today, we are not going to give you any rhyme or rhythm. We are just going to be throwing codes at you. So you better stay very, very much attentive all throughout the broadcast. For all you know, we might release 10 codes at the end of the broadcast. I don't know. Maybe 100 codes.
We might even release it while the teams are playing.
Yeah, we might release it during broadcast. We might release it after the broadcast. You cannot tell. Okay, maybe not after the broadcast. Okay, throughout the broadcast, we will be giving you these codes. So make sure you stick with us. Once again, team lineup in here. I'm looking at 5 stars, right? Yesterday, 3 out of 4 games, they got into the final circle. So 5-star in terms of consistency, but not 5 stars in terms of the eliminations department. They were one of the weaker squads when it came to the elimination. Not the strongest team, not the top 3 for sure. And I'm looking for that to change a little bit today, because now we know they can play the circle, but can they play a good elimination game up against their opponents?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I know that Eric has done so much already, but I'm hoping that Jonas will be with the group at some point, because I think he's a little bit lost in most of the cases. So it might be good if you have a flank, if that is a plan. But it's not part of their rotation. I believe it's not part of their rotation, because he's either very, very far away or really off the grid. And then the 5 stars is just in one specific rotation, in one specific path. So if they stick together, going for the usual tactics, 3-1, 2-2, and that's where we see them perform even more. But I guess we're ready, AJ. Purgatory is up, and this is game number 1 for the last day of the group stage.
Like I've heard you say a million times already, Neptune, neither heaven nor hell. Let's see exactly what the test is going to be like for these teams out here. We have got a total of 9 squads hopping on into Purgatory once again, which means the 3 teams that we lost yesterday still not going to be participating in here today, unless, of course, we see a little bit of a shuffle where teams that did show up yesterday have not showed up for Game 1, which would be a huge loss for them. But either way, lesser points overall to collect through those eliminations. But at the end of the day, there's also lesser pressure, lesser risk as you're taking these rotations, looking for that final circle.
Yeah, let's see. So let's see as to where the flight path is going to give us, or what the flight path is going to give us.
Yeah.
And as you keep looking at the map, where the high tier loot area, and if someone will be taking that. Hopefully they are listening. They were listening to us, not on actual broadcast, but also past broadcast, especially if you're doing your homework. And there you have it. In the beginning of the flight, that is where the high tier loot area forge is.
Wow.
And no one is still moving in that direction.
Wow. No, literally nobody listened to us, Neptune. How sad. MTG is the first one out of this flight, and I am just so disappointed. You see 3 coin machines in there, you see a vending machine in there, you see a revival platform in there, and you see a freaking blue circle around Forge telling you there's high tier loot, and nobody has gone there. And what's up in Group B? The same thing that happened yesterday, Neptune, is happening again. So many of these teams are waiting to the last moment and dropping at the far edge of the circle, which we did tell them to do, but all throughout the map. Now you've got multiple squads all grouped into one location. This is just disaster waiting to fall upon all of us. And I think it's going to start with 5 stars first. Let's see if or not they're capable of becoming the top 3 squads once again and maintaining their top 3 percentage here. As Don Chui hot drops them. Insano down on the ground, Zeus looking for 1. Question is he going to find 2 for the price of 1 here? As he brings that P90, he calls for a little bit of backup as well. Insano bleeding out, no backup for him. The rest of Don Chui backing away ever so slowly as Guts finds Rekka, wrecks him instantaneously. No glue walls to protect their buddy.
13 right now will be met by 3 players, but a takedown against Zeus. But he also goes down. I'm God's MP40, but just in time, Eric managed to bring him down. Now, good decision though for one of the players to move far away, and they will still survive. But Don Chui doesn't look like a Don at this moment.
Yeah, both Don Chui as well as 5 stars yesterday pulled 1 Booyah each. But of course, the bigger difference between 5 stars and Don Chui was the consistency of 5 stars finding that final circle, getting those placement points. Don Chui, on the other hand, they were just 3 eliminations less than 5 stars, but they were quite a number of placement points away from them because they were barely finding that final circle. I believe they only got to that top 3 once in that game, and in that one game where they got to the top 3, they actually got the Booyah. So, and that's actually good for Don Chui. If they find the final circle, there's a high probability they're going to be walking away with it, right? But they have to increase that number, that possibility for themselves as well. As Rekka gets brought right back in here, as we now see yet another squad jumping into action, CDG.
Yeah, CDG. Let's see if they'll be able to bring down 5 stars right now. Hockey is trying to go for the chase, but it's a little bit risky, so it's a good thing that he has been blocked by the glue wall from the other side. King right now moving away, and they need to regroup. They need to stick together because from what I'm seeing for 5 stars right now, yes, they are spread out, but they have Eric on their side from long range, and Cord coming from Talon to bring back one of the teammates, one of the players from 5 stars. They will be regrouping with Hockey. It is now a 2v2 situation that 5 star doesn't want to deal with.
Yeah, and 5 star doesn't want to deal with this, and this is the main reason why they have gotten into that final circle multiple times. They know when to attack, they know when to back away. But CDG, though, is the better squad when it comes to the engagements, and they are not going in here for the elimination, mainly because they are left with 2 more players, and most of them, both of them, I have to say, are broke. CDG, not a single time they found the final circle. Not a single time did they get into the top 3 yesterday as far as placement are concerned, but they do have more eliminations as opposed to 5 stars. So I do think that this is a very capable squad. We're just not seeing the consistency of rotation around from them. because the very first drop that they take into the map it was as disastrous as this yesterday. So many teams dropping so close to each other. So even if you're good, when you're trying to rotate, if you it's just a bad game for you, your opponents have got that AWM in hand, hasta la vista, baby. You're going to drop all of your players as you rotate.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's one thing that you need to avoid and counter as well. Now, let's see, though, that is something that Motion Gang will be able to do great because they drop into the island of Purgatory, the southern island of Purgatory, and from Lumber Mill has made it to Fire Brigade. But I guess this is how Motion Gang wants to move. Like, they don't go in high velocity from the beginning up until the end. They just go with the flow, wait for each circle, stay on the edge, and, well, in a bit, they might be seeing Real G, and the only question would be, will the Real G be the gangsters from that engagement?
Yeah, MTG, just like 5 stars, they've got a 75% rate of getting into the top 3. That means they keep finding that final circle. But what makes them very different from 5 stars is Motion Gang knows how to play a good match of engagement, right? They know to pull in those elimination points as well. They're quite, toe-to-toe with a team like CDG when it comes to those engagements. But speaking of engagements, Showdown Asta, the Trogon finding the connection. And it looks like Asta is going to survive for a little bit longer. 18 Ducks, too far away for that backup gameplay. Asta moves on in for the shutdown. Purgatory with the MP40 moves on in with the Rebel Rush on that backup. But that Cassie Electrotherapy is just going to power up MTG to take a very easy game up against them. And it looks like the Real G left with one final player who does have enough money to bring the squad back. Needs just another coin machine to hit. And has got a monster truck to get away. Thankfully for Real G, no players on the side of MTG actually had a AWM or a decent enough sniper to snipe him out of that monster truck now.
Yeah, definitely. And you know how beefy it is. The monster truck is something compared to the pickup, the other vehicles, wherein it only takes a few shots and it will start to smoke up. So MTG right now will be going for the chase. They know the tactics. They know what the plan is. But I guess they've given Duck right now plenty of time for that revive. But at least they will get the additional point in terms of elimination. So MTG might be looking in or trying to go for that a confirmation, but they don't know where the Duck is. They don't know. They are not hearing the quack. And there you go. 1v4 at this point. And Savior the Savior will be getting an ace.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. He basically quad dropped the whole squad of RG, single-handedly wiping the team. But all thanks to 18 Duck, the team is back in here on the way. Not full squad yet because the Duck needs to be revived as well before we make some pate out of him.
Hopefully it won't be that scenario because I'm pretty sure they want to go in here full squad and no one being eaten all toward the end. But we have on style right now. 0 elimination just yet. Real G that has met MTG earlier is still falling down. King being the king and taking the crown against Joe Jam. And let's see if they'll be able to find out the rest of the teams. But I guess they managed to pull away from that zip line. But this time, a Motion Gang going against Don C. And this is the error of Don C in most cases. Spread out too thin, wherein once the enemy comes in, they are falling down like flies.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Don Chui had a open shot up against the MTG players because they literally hopped out of the car, out in the open. No glue walls, no nothing. MTG is literally just running out in the open, taking pot shots at their opponents like Don Chui, and nobody is doing anything about this. And at this point of time, yesterday's assessment, I didn't really want to be very harsh on it, but I think there's a very clear difference in terms of the upper echelons of squads in here within Group B and then the bottom feeders, right? Because there's just a total mismatch on some of these engagements. But let's see if On Style can show us something different today. Yesterday, they only got a total of 11 eliminations from 4 games. MTG did so much better than them. 7 eliminations in hand right now. They could just make it 11 if On Style drops the ball here.
Yeah, let's see Asta with that SVD. And, well, there are a few hits, but no knockdowns just yet. So I guess On Style going for full survivability, taking those compound as cover, and even despite of one player being left behind, they will not be going down that easily. And Motion Gang right now going in. This is the full velocity that we are looking for Motion Gang, especially once they have a target in their sights.
Absolutely, man. And of course, MTG, oh, look at this. The rotation with the vehicle. The truck is going to allow them to cut off the rotation of... No, they don't want to cut off anybody's rotation. They just want to find a quick reposition. I thought they were going for some big brain plays, extra 4 points. But maybe they still are, because this is a decent enough defensive spot going in here for the airdrop. And this now gives On Style an opportunity with that high ground to snipe out MTG. But look at this, man. Not even wasting an extra second. MTG with a quick hit and run on that airdrop as well.
Yeah, the way I'm looking at it, MTG, they are not going for the bridge camp because it's rare. A bridge will be taken by a team, especially on being hunted, but they are waiting for that zip line. So I guess that's where MTG will be positioned, and then meeting On Style or probably gatekeeping On Style. But for Tonyo, they have 3 elimination already. Jason is already down, and CLG, position-wise, yes, they are prime. In terms of pickup, if in case a 1 goes down, they will be able to do it quickly. And Freestyle right now is in trouble. Four scopes is meeting him right now, and I guess 1 or if not 2 is already on their way, and that M79 takes down Freestyle.
Yeah, easy peasy for CLG. And of course, we have got Tonyo in here as well, 3 eliminations in hand. All up to Lopez and Jason to get something done for the squad. They've got a vending machine right ahead. And Yeeson has got enough coins in his pocket alongside Lopez to bring the squad back. But NAF, level no F, just waiting for an opportunity to shut them down as well. Let's see exactly how this one kind of breaks down. Is CLG for elimination strong? Irony McQueen out there. Gomezrio. But nothing through that SVD just yet. And CLG getting a double out of nowhere. And AF dropping 1 player. CLG, a good trade back coming on through. But NA level F, unfortunate for them, follows suit with the team of 5 stars as they get eliminated in the 8th spot.
Oh, let's see though. CLG is not out of the woods just yet. We still have Tonyo, who is going in for that revive, but not strong enough to go for the push against a full squad. Lopez trying to go and make those shots through the glue wall, but it's not going through, and Draco will need to run away. There goes an active skill being triggered to stop theirs, and level 3 MP5, yes, doesn't hit like a truck, but at least it puts in a lot of damage.
9 eliminations strong already for CLG on the way up to the top. Not a single Booyah in their hand. Yesterday, 27 eliminations in total from 4 games. So this is definitely a cut above what they did yesterday. On average, they're doing so much more better, and I don't think they're done just yet. But of course, quite a far way outside the circle at this point of time. Riot, bye-bye, down on the ground, knocked down by the blue. Antonio! As he was running straight on in, gets eliminated by CDG out of nowhere. Unfortunate for him, but I've still got my eyes on CLG and seeing exactly how they're going to be making this rotation from outside the circle net.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough right now of how they will be moving in, especially with a lot of teams already waiting. And we saw as well in the kill feed, Duck has managed to get a little bit of revenge against Motion Gang, and let's see if he'll be able to survive. But for Don Chui, they're losing out teams or players that have been revived as well, especially with 1 player of them surviving after those encounter. But speaking of recovery, Motion Gang, not done just yet. 2 of their players will be back in the flight, but where will they be dropping? Is there enough loot for them to go with? And we're looking at 4th phase of the circle, going into 5th, and Hack right now taking down Hockey, CLG versus CDG.
A quadra kill for this guy as well. And one similarity between all 4 teams in this next circle is they all end with a G. But who's the real G? Could it be Real G themselves? 26% on the potential win rate here. It's pretty much equal for everyone out there. And they are spread pretty far away from each other. But CLG versus CDG, this is something that we can take a look at right now. 18 Duck. A back-to-back. Riptide Rhythm sent out as well from that Skylar. Oh, but it just goes wide. And Talon quickly gets that pickup out of nowhere. But Mao dropping one. And it looks like it's all up to Hack, who quickly goes in there for the pickup on Dracusita. But it's just not working out for him. Has to deal with his own life. Still tries to pick up his team member. Good blue walls laid out. And Dracusita makes it out of that one alive. CLG hanging on for their dear lives.
Oh, definitely. I mean, they are the elimination leader at this point, but Asta dropping in from the revive, P90 in hand, will get information and might be able to help out with the takedown, but CDG takes down one player from CLG. Only one remains, but Duck still on a roll on the snipe. Talent bleeding out, and it is left to King. He is alone. He is just moving one step at a time, but Motion Gang might be able to catch up to him as we deal with the final three teams.
SCDG, one player left here, King, MP40 in hand. One player sneaks on in. Woo, he doesn't do much, but here comes the circle as well, and King eliminated. Motion Gang now taking just a tad bit of damage from the circle, but they go up against the real G. 50% on the potential win rate here, but it's a 4v3. The real Gs should be able to do this, but it is MTG with the compound, with the circle, a little bit of defensive space to work with here without needing to waste their glue walls. And the real G, they do not need to engage yet, Nep.
Yeah, definitely no need for engagement. The next shift of the circle will be showing, and it is favoring Motion Gang. So it's a good thing they didn't move away from the corner of that warehouse, because they can move through the next phase of the circle, and that was what Real G was waiting, especially Duck, because he had this the snipe available already, and we know once he gets that crosshair, he will take them down. So Motion Gang is more favored in this situation.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, just like you said, when that circle moves, they can literally use the same building as cover. All they need to do is just run to the opposite corner. And throughout that whole journey, Real G will not be able to connect any one of those shots on them at all. But now, there's a little bit of lack of insight for the side of MTG unless that coda is used. 18 Duck with the Skylar. He can be a real wrecker here because MTG obviously is going to be pulling out those glue walls. Grenade, though. And he wastes too much of time. Purgatory comes flying on in with the MP40. Roberto finds one and a god nade from Javier out of nowhere. 6 eliminations in hand. He makes it 7, wanting to make it 8. Roberto says no. It's a now 3v2. The tables have turned. MTG not dropping a single player up against them, but they're ripping away life after life. Javier gets yet another with a deep freeze, and it is all over. MTG with the third Booyah for Group B.
Motion Gang going in for the full physics in this game. From slow accelerating to fast pace, that is what the team has to offer. And not only that, the third Booyah for this group stages for the team. And I'm loving how much they have evolved and fought against this team, like what 18 Duck was throwing in onto them. The snipes was pristine, but Motion Gang just timed it to the T.
I mean, this is a massive, massive game for them. And MTG should be able to launch themselves now into the top 5, all thanks to their third Booyah. And it was quite a big one as well with the numbers. Very decent number of eliminations the last time we spotted them out. And they were just blessed by this circle. But what was the real marker of victory here was the initiative from MTG to go in for the initiation of battle. Because like I was highlighting, we actually saw that the Real G could have wrecked them, especially with that Skylar. And the biggest mistake was the Skylar player went up first. When your sniper is leading the charge, there's a little bit of a problem overall there, right? I think they could have maintained a little bit more distance. Unfortunately for the Real G, they just didn't have a good defensive compound like MTG. So with luck, good placement as well.
Yeah, for what Real G was planning to do, they go in for the other side of that warehouse, and I guess they missed out on making that grenade count. Like, the timing was pristine in terms of if that grenade hit that window, hit MTG, then the rush on the flank will be good for them to take down at least 2. But the moment that tick of that nade, that beep was heard by Motion Gang. That's where they counter Real G on rotation.
Yeah, I mean, and they're like, okay, we need to rush these guys now because if not, a frag grenade is going to drop onto our heads and we don't really have a lot of compound to work around with. And of course, the Real G could have been a little bit more creative with that engagement as well. Yeah. They had a good opportunity to split up into two different parts of their squad. One could have flanked from the back of the warehouse. One could have met them from the front. It could have been a good sandwich. But of course, the MVP, Javier, 9 eliminations, 2 assists, 3 headshots, 2,678 on the damage, which means this was a very concise game for Javier. If he finds you, if he's shooting at you, you're probably going to be dead, and he's going to be walking away with the eliminations point. So very well played from this guy. What's surprising here is it's the support player once again.
Yeah, I mean, so support player most of the time is not just focusing on healing up the teammates.
Yeah.
Is in there, once the information has been relayed, the tag on the opponents is there, he can go in for the finisher. And he did that from the first engagement that they had against Real G. So
yes.
The poetic part is Real G was the first team that they met, the first team that they eliminated with 4 points, and then they're the last team that they met as well towards the end.
Absolutely, man. And let's take a look at the head-to-head here comparison between King and Javier as well. 96 eliminations. CDG's King did fairly well. It's just that they could not get into a better position in that final circle and look for more of these points. The head-to-head between teams, on the other hand, we are looking at MTG versus CLG. CLG came in the 4th spot, but look at the total eliminations, 12 on the side of CLG. So they're not out of the race just yet. CLG, at the end of the day, is very close to CDG in terms of performance, and they're climbing up the board consistently. We're definitely going to see them in the knockout stages as well now.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess for the 4 Gs that we have right here, the final 4 with the Gs, I guess they will be taking the top 4 spot in here. Not only in terms of placement, but like with engagement as well, elimination-wise, they managed to pull it off. Thus, overall, they take a huge piece of the 57 elimination that we have all throughout this map, even the damage of the 33,000 and headshots, 47, even the knocks 72. Like we saw a lot of those happening, and only a few managed to go for the quick pickup and went for survivability.
Yeah, exactly right. And 28% of the total eliminations going towards the side of MTG only means that teams need to either checkmate them quickly or avoid them at all costs. Motion Gang, 28 points in total, all thanks to the 12 that they gained out of placement, 16 eliminations. And like we mentioned and highlighted earlier, CLG with the 12 eliminations gets them a total of 19 points. CDG very close to CLG overall in performance with the 18 points. Real G hitting the double digits here as well. All 4 Gs doing really, really well. If you're not a G, I guess you're not on top.
It's a good thing I am a G as well. Not your GG at this point. But let's see who's hitting the top right now. MTG makes their way to top 5. And we're only on the first map of day number 2. And they're doing phenomenal at this point. Now, for the rest of the teams right now, well, Antonio is, or Real G is already out from the very bottom and very close to catch up, even with Dark Hunters. And Don Chui surprisingly takes the lead. It's because of the Booyah that they have right there from yesterday. So if in case Don Chui will decide to perform, this is the time for them to do so. Otherwise, Real G will be catching up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And of course, the Real G looking at their opportunity grabbed in this first game shows us that they are not done with the competition just yet. They want to make sure they qualify for the knockout stage. They could just be the underdogs that we were looking for on day 2. We need to see a little bit more. We're not going to count them out just yet, man.
Yeah, well, yes, definitely. I mean, for Gavilanes, unfortunate for them, they have been pushed out of the 18th spot, despite of how well they did on their second day. I know I'm talking about Group A right now, but it's such unfortunate that it only takes a few maps from the final day of Group A that they really pop off. Otherwise, they could have maintained their spot all throughout the knockout stage.
Honestly, at this point of time, even NA level F could qualify for the knockout stage. But obviously, we need to see more points from them. But hey, once again, we've got another giveaway for you guys, as promised. And like we mentioned, only the first 100 players can redeem the item, 1 item per player. These are very exclusive. You can only find them on this broadcast. So in 3, 2, 1, here you go. Make sure you grab that screenshot, head on over to the website, hit that redeem, get the item for yourself, and make sure you tell your friends as well. If they are missing out, they should not. We've got a few more coming up for you on this broadcast now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot more indeed. It's not just the excitement of the battle, of learning from the teams that we have right here. It's also the rewards just to give as a thanks for everyone who has been standing by on this broadcast. But once again, there's a lot of hype and all parts of the board right now, and we want that to continue on. We just finished our first map right now, and making sure that the momentum of the teams will still be on par, especially as they drop into Alpine in a bit.
I know you mentioned Gavilanes earlier. We also need to mention BBC News, who are currently tethering on the 18th spot. And I think it's inevitable. Obviously, these teams are going to be grabbing those points, and we are going to see the elimination of BBC News from the top 18 as well, which means we will not be able to see them in the knockout stages later on. Unless, of course, by some sort of miracle, on style, teams like NAF, they pick up literally 0 points for the next 3 games, which is not impossible. It could just happen if BBC News is praying hard enough.
That's one thing. I mean, that's one thing that Group A has a disadvantage. All they have to do is regret any decisions that they did from last week, because definitely it is. If you didn't come in like guns blazing, you miss out on elimination, you miss out on those points, and all you have to do is pray right now. And it's not just BBC News. Even Dark Hunters, Team Fighters from Group A is at risk. Even TF Esports is at risk, because the teams still has 3 more maps, 3 more chances to grab those points.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Fenton, obviously, 74 points on the leaderboard. They are not at huge risk. But anything can happen, right? We don't really know what this lobby is like. But, thankfully, we've only got 9 teams in there. So once again, limited number of elimination points they can collect for themselves, but lesser risk to find their way to that final circle to contend for the top 3 spots. In Alpine, on top of everything else, it's a huge map. If you thought Purgatory was big, this map is gigantic. So you're going to have a lot of room to work with. If I still see a hot drop here, I swear, nephew.
I mean, that only means they're not doing their homework. Or some teams are really doing most of their homework, and they're just targeting the other teams. But as we see the flight path right now coming from Garrison all throughout Stadium, and we have the first dropping for 5 stars going in. Finally listening. Well, I don't know if Snowfall is really their drop, or they are just aiming for the high tier loot area, but it's still a win for us.
Either way, man, it only took them, 6 games? So I'm happy. I'm happy that at least on the 6th game, somebody is finally aiming for that high tier loot zone. And as anticipated, Alpine, as massive as it is, it allows teams to find their own compound. But no, it looks like we're still going to find a little bit of a hot drop here. CDG, NA Level F, they've got the same thing going on in their minds. And of course, just outside the next circle, NA Level F finding themselves inside of Vantage. But I'm a little bit more concerned about that high tier loot zone. What sort of high tier loot will the team walk away with? Because we know, based on what FVS has been doing, they started off hot yesterday, and then they slowly started to taper down. And today, they were the first team to get eliminated in game number 1. This needs to be that recovery match for them. If they slip off once again, I think it's going to be either one of 2 sides of this coin, right? Either it's going to be a huge blow to their confidence for the knockout stage, or it's going to be a huge motivator for them to really step it up before, the important part of the competition comes through later on as well. Because this is the easy part, finding the qualifier into the knockout stage as the top 18. But being in the top 12 later on with 2 days of play, that's where the real challenge is.
Yeah, definitely. And well, one thing is they don't know how well they can move against Group A because they haven't played them just yet. But CDG right now just beating Tonyo to it. But Talent has been taken down from afar by Lopez. But I don't think this is something that they can deal with quite easily. Mao right now, Oscar, valiant dash, but doesn't do anything with F590 coming from Lopez. So that's 2 for Lopez at this point.
That's more like a valiant effort rather than a valiant dash. He tried. He really tried. And a good break off that glue wall with that Oscar, but it didn't really give him what he was looking for overall. And CDG is not down and out of this equation just yet. They just want to quickly wrap around and out of the compound, continuing their looting journey. Latonio getting a little bit of revenge, and thankfully Talon was revived at a timely manner here. So CDG not totally wiped out just yet. Tonio bringing back the one and only freestyle, and Team Tonio is back in it.
Yeah, let's see though if Talent will be spotted right now. And I guess this is given to Freestyle to spot out where Tonyo will be moving, or well, CDG will be moving. And they have spotted Talent already, as you can see from the trajectory of the rest of Tonyo. And Freestyle, even with just a pistol, he joins the fray. This is what we are talking about. No one left behind. Everyone moves as a group. And this is not giving any chance, any risk of one man going down that easily.
Absolutely, and it looks like CDG didn't stand a chance this time around. Still no Booyah for the squad, but they were in the 9th spot the last time we looked at the leaderboard, so there's no repercussion of this early elimination. But of course, it's probably not very good for their mental health.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, failing that despite of being part of the top 4 from the earlier map, but it's similar to like a lot of stories when it comes to the teams. You perform and then later on you don't. So hopefully they find that consistency. But for OnStyle right now, I mean, they are still the bottom 3, and on the other side, we're looking at Don Chui Insano almost being taken down by OnStyle. So this is the threat that OnStyle is bringing. They are showing up differently this time around.
Let's see what can this difference make for them as OnStyle with that high ground, keeping their eyes onto Guts. And the team of Don Chui split up once again. This could just be the right maneuver out of Don Chui, because this flanking position could very quickly put OnStyle in a very risky spot. Insano being watched here by the squad. But look at the rotation here by Swao. Has got that AC-80 in hand. Insano playing that distraction, trying to pull the team of OnStyle a little bit further away from each other. But it looks like it is Insano that receives a couple of bullets in his chest. Sao still holding on for his dear life. Glue wall lost here for Insano. Goes for the prone. Question is, how many more does this kid have in his pocket?
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully he does have a lot. But Sao managed to go back, turn around, and bring down King. But a quick pickup has been done. And this is what's favoring OnStyle right now. If one goes down, it's easy for them to go in. But with Blex going out, I'm Guts. This is the advantage that they have been waiting for the longest time. Going in for that flank, making sure that all corners is covered. And I'm starting to doubt, I was starting to doubt Don Chui's decision right now of spreading out and not even going for the flank or not even going for the push. But I guess this is what they need right now. The moment that 2 players or 1 player goes down, they have a chance to rush in a little bit safer.
Yeah, and OnStyle says this is why we got money, bro. They brought 2 of their players back instantaneously, so no squad wipe for Don Chui, but the flank was just absolutely sublime. I thought OnStyle was going to just be able to hide out in that compound for long enough and then play the split push of Don Chui up against them. But instead, they exposed themselves, allowing Don Chui with those easy takedowns. And Insano now with the God Nade. And it looks like Zane popped already. He's got the extra layer of defense. And oh my lord! The Trogon still clipping him. Flash with the save for his squad. Goes in for the pickup as well. But here comes the one and only 13. A little bit of backup as well. Electrotherapy and smart work from 13. Waiting for his guy before they come back in here for the wipe. And the M590 gets the job done. Sao with the eliminations.
Yeah, there might have been a delay, but it's a good thing that he doubled back, wait for his teammates, especially that support, and then that's where they go in for the rush. Pickup or revive is happening right now on one of the teams that went down, but for Sanchez, he will be picked up. McQueen right now runs away, and this is what NA Level F needs to do. They need to move away from CLG because CLG is looking for blood at this point, and they got 4 already.
Yeah, they got 4. They also got the whole squad. And a level F not available for the play anymore on this Alpine map. As we head on in, 7 more teams left on in here. 28 players as we reach the 8th minute. But now a confrontation between MTG and CLG is unavoidable at Rai. And it looks like MTG is looking for the exact same thing that CLG has gone for in here. This assault bunker. Let's see exactly what it will be able to give these squads as Tonio leads this lobby with 5 eliminations.
Oh, unfortunate that we are seeing teams falling down, but not that fast compared to yesterday. MTG, 0 eliminations just yet. They have sights on CLG, but CLG has stronger in terms of weaponry, but Roberto has been knocked down, but the pickup is quite easy. Healing gun with that pickup will be working for MTG right now, and CLG will try to do the same. But from afar, no cover, no backup. CLG will need a little bit more of firepower.
Look at that firepower you're talking about, man. Just as you say that, Gomez Rio shows that he's got the aim with the M82B. Shot from afar, clipping the players on the side of MTG. 2 on the ground, but the pickups will be possible because no rush coming on through from the team of CLG, and they are not in position to get that done. The inevitable engagement at Rai does happen. Not in the way I was expecting, though. I was thinking that MTG was going to go in there for the full-on bum rush. But now CLG out in the open, being clipped by the zone. But guess what? So is MTG.
Yeah, let's see, though, if MTG will survive this. And the flank is being done right now by Gomez Rio. M82B plus M24 on his hands, just switching it up. Just make sure he has enough time to go for the takedown. But speaking of takedown, Roberto is down as well together with Itadori. Savior will try to run away, leaving Asta behind, and Asta will just go in for the flank. I think he has been spotted already, but no one is shooting. They don't want to be caught off guard, but not knowing that Savior is already far, far away on his way to the nearest vending machine to bring back their teammates.
Yeah, Asta out of the equation here. 2,500 coins in his pocket. He can buy the whole world back. So if in case of a disaster, an apocalypse, you know exactly who to call. The Savior Savior.
The Savior, and that's why he is named that way, because he is the Savior at this point. But the chase, a little bit too late, though, for CLG. They could have caught up with Savior at that point, but no, the priority will be going back into the safety of the zone. But Tonyo, who has been in a battle for quite some time against OnStyle, is getting 6 elimination already, losing Lopez, but they still have a chance to take down OnStyle on this field.
And just when we thought that MTG was done and dusted, they are all back in here again, full squad, and the circle. 10 more seconds to start closing on in. So MTG has got a decent amount of time, not too much, just enough to pull off some decent loot, grab some coins from those coin machines, and then make their way into this next circle. MTG only has 1 elimination so far, but in the grand scheme of things, it does not matter. They are going to qualify for the knockout stage. Now it's just a major flex. Now it's all about showing how good they are in comparison to the big dogs of Group A.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that is one thing that they need to show as well as to prove later on once we get into knockout stage. But for OnStyle right now, there's still a lot of work for them. Yes, they had a good amount of, or decent amount of point earlier, a good amount of engagement that they are surviving, but they still need more. And for Don Chui, 7 elimination already, and I guess survivability is being worked on, but it might not last that long because third to fourth will hurt, but they haven't found any placement, like any place to position themselves in Forest Red.
Let's see exactly how slow this pace is going to be here as Don Chui bumps into Tonio out in the open. Insano in a terrible position, but he gets a grenade out of nowhere. Insano with the flag once again. Can he deliver yet another? It's going to be the glue wall melter this time round, rotating right under the noses of Tonio. Has got a vending machine to play around with as well. 1,000 coins in his hands, but taking big damage from the circle, joined by his team member. And it looks like this pressure is not really going to bring all that too much out of the squad, because the safe place all around. Insano finding yet another player off of Tonio. Unfortunate for Tonio overall, because Don Chui, clipped by the circle, still looks as tanky as ever.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Don Chui right now. Let's see if a recovery will be done on Yason and Freestyle. But for Lopez, well, he will just be waiting. And we know how well he is with that plasma gun. But on the other side, we are seeing Real G meeting real demise at this point. Sao is only one casualty for Don Chui. But I'm Guts also going down. Max 7 in hands of 13. Will try to go in for that pick up, but has been met by 2. Managed to bring down a 1, and will be going down. Don Chui will say bye-bye in this game.
Josue picks up a duck, but outside the circle, does he have a super med?
No.
18 duck, a sliver of health, down by the zone once again. Josue desperately trying to pick him up. What can Duck do? Did he drop him a super med? Questions in my mind, and yes, he does.
Yeah.
And 18 Duck right back in it, all thanks to that Superman. But on Pana, right behind him. This is just something that I don't think these boys saw coming on through. Rekka dropping Lopez. Tonio still under pressure. MTG now looking for those elimination points. Roberto sprayed down to the ground. P90 meeting Asta. Asta has got the elimination here out of nowhere. Pulls out the VSK, gets the headshot, had the M79, the grenade launcher in hand, chooses not to use it. And now, down to our final 4 as we lose Real G in the 5th spot.
Oh, Real G is out on the 5th. Now we still have 4th. MTG doesn't have Roberto anymore, but the firepower is still not slowing down. Asta in there, like up close and personal, trying to pull in the opponent, manage to make their teammates survive a little bit more. So this is one thing that we've seen so much from MTG, from Motion Gang. They go in with flow, go in with motion of the zone, and they're still surviving it.
Yeah, man. I mean, but here's the thing. Motion Gang needs to put some motion in towards this next circle. They have got one player from Tonio on their right-hand side as they try to make this circle run. Things could come crashing down in here if Tonio finds this knock, but unfortunately for him, King has the right SMG. But tanking the circle here, 12 HP. Man better have a Superman on him, on style. 2 more players left on their side as well, flirting with the circle. MTG's already in this next zone. And now on style, Flash, pressured by Xavier and his AC-80. And FPS on the opposite side of this battlefield, looking for the Booyah for themselves on this comeback gameplay.
Stolen right now from MTG. 5 stars slowly moving in. King right now with only a few HP, but Blue will be hurting as much. Kenny on the other side will be spotted by Asta. And this is a team versus team. Once again, MTG will be left on a 3-man squad against, is it a full squad? No, Zeus is also out. So I guess it's a 3v3 right now. And let's see who's going to win. The ones with a split or the ones who's moving in together.
Well, MTG looking for that back-to-back Booyah for their 4th Booyah here within Group B. Kenny, M590, cannot find that full connection, and MTG gets the pickup, but dropped right back down. Asta on the ground. X-Wrecker trying to wreck the lives of MTG. The monster truck being used as well. 2 players down on the ground. Wrecker traded right back out here. The pickup is just not going to be possible just yet. MP40 in his hands. Kenny with the M590. He just needs a couple of sprays. Turns the 180, but Kenny with the prevention. And 5 stars are back in here with a 5-star play and a Booyah.
5-Star Esports. And you know how Kenny is. He just don't die that easily. Every time he goes down, he always get back with the crew. And I'm just talking about South Park at some point. But anyways, 5-Star, really, I love how they move in on the flank, stealing a few of those elimination against MTG, and then the position-wise, the split, the 1-2 split that they did, that's what caught MTG off hand, because the ones rushing in has been taken down that quickly, and then at that moment, that's where 5-Star just went in for the rush. It took a while, though, for the finisher, but still they managed to do it.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, whatever 5-Star's doing, whatever MTG is doing, this is just a super flex, right? Because 5-Stars is very well in the top 18 already. They don't really need to super hustle anymore. But now you're talking about the training grounds, turning whatever lobby that we have got left in here for Group B into a training ground to prepare themselves well for the knockout stage next week. It's not going to be as easy as this lobby right now, where you still do have some bottom feeders desperately trying to find the circle, but ending up being points for the other teams. But a prevention for MTG picking up that back-to-back Booyah breaks the possibility of a team from Group B pulling a T-Rex on us here, Neptune.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's one thing that other teams don't want to see, especially in their own lobby, having one team dominating in terms of survivability, getting that Booyah. So it's a good thing, a great challenge coming from 5-Star is there as well. But I guess with the performance that Motion Gang has been doing, the consistency that they have, 2 out of the 4 maps what we have right now, they're already part of top 3. So I guess they will still move up in the leaderboard.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And of course, we have got a little bit of a update for you guys later on as well. More giveaways, right? We are not going to forget that. So don't forget, stay on this broadcast all the way down to the very end. These items cannot be purchased. The MVP for this match is from CLG. Drakusita, 6 eliminations, 2,312 damage, 1 assist, 2 headshots. Again, it's the support player, Neptune.
We're seeing a pattern right here. The support who is being an MVP, it's because of that, how they trade off on in terms of getting those shots. So, you're either in with your rusher, so the rusher put in initial damage, and then you go in for the finisher. But with Drakusita, he is using that M249, so pretty much, doesn't need to reload that often, but you'll have that firepower that you need to go for the elimination.
Yeah, and of course the head-to-head between CLG's Drakusita as well as Tonio's Lopez. 6-4 eliminations, not a lot of difference there, because at the end of the day, we know these numbers are mainly just those flexes to get into the final circle. What is the real repercussion for Tonio? They are already in the top 18. They just have to watch out, though, because out of nowhere, if all of a sudden they drop their performance in these final 2 games, and the teams who are currently on the bottom, who are not performing, makes some sort of a ridiculous turnaround in their performance, Tonio is going to get eliminated, but those are rare situations, rare occurrences that might just befall us. So probably Tony is going to be safe. But the head-to-head between the teams, though, it looks like 5-Stars are back in action.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, 5-Stars back in action and doing a lot of damage against the top dogs, which is Motion Gang. And, well, yes, they did get that Booyah, but Motion Gang, despite of them losing out in most cases, and that is one reason as well why they don't have that much elimination compared to our previous map, is because they were almost being taken down. They tanked the blue, and the savior managed to save the rest of the teams, bringing them to that second place. So this is one thing, the one tactic that is, I would say, brushed away by a lot of teams, but it does work so much. Early into the fight, or early into the map, you can go for engagement, but at least leave 1 or 2 behind so that you can go for the comeback later on.
Yeah, and of course, we also saw the damage from MTG, which means that they were finding a lot of engagements out there, but they were just not converting those engagements into eliminations. Most of those got picked up. We kind of saw a lot of long-range engagements, so they're keeping a distance up against the other teams. They're getting in the damage, but that's not showing up on the board through those points. But of course, overall stats-wise, Don Chui managing to walk away with a total of 11 eliminations. Not something, not of a big flex here, but at least we see Don Chui really stepping it up here. I thought yesterday they were a decent team. Only one Booyah in hand, though. We want to see a little bit more from them. This game was not too shabby, but at the same time, not the best game we have seen thus far. But the final battle between 5 stars as well as MTG, that's something I want to see more of, Neptune.
Definitely. I mean, how they go in full rotation, how they go preparation in terms of that team versus team. But as we look in the match standings right now, well, Booyah has been taken by 5-star in terms of elimination. Still have Don Chui taking the lead right now. Thus, they went in for second. CLG right now with 14. The same goes with Motion Gang. And it's just elimination that Motion Gang has been losing out at this point. Looking at the bottom, though, unfortunate for NA Level F, despite of how close it is for Group B to be able to take over some of the players or some of the teams from Group A, I think NA Level F is still going in for F at this point and might continue on towards the end of the day.
And look at where's MTG. One more final circle play, and they will be in that second spot, overtaking Rosario Central, which I think is a huge thing, right? And overall, with the capability of picking up these Booyahs, they have shown that they are better than Rosario Central. That being said, though, it's not an apple-to-apple comparison because they were not playing in the exact same lobby. And when you've got the T-Rex ripping away every single Booyah from your hands, obviously you're not going to have too many of those. But in the overall grand scheme of things, picking up those points, MTG should be able to catch up with them. Down at the bottom, though, these are the teams that we want to highlight. On style now on that 53 points, feathering on the very edge of elimination. And of course, they have managed to take away the spot from BBC News, but there are a few more teams that we need to look at. And of course, Gavilanes, BBC News, they are going to be struck off, but NA Level F, they still can make some sort of a miraculous play here to jump back into the competition, but they are 20 points away from catching up with Gavilanes itself. In the grand scheme of things, they need about 27 points to catch up with OnStyle. So not only do they need to get 27 points more than OnStyle, they have to hope and pray that OnStyle doesn't pick up more points here.
Definitely. I mean, if the target would be for Dark Hunters, they will need to get 37 points as well, or 30, even more. At least 40. If they can get 20 points per match, which is we seldom see from NA Level F, and they will be able to go in for the next stage. So there's one thing though. I mean, NA Level F, they have great chance because some of the teams were not performing compared to the others, the other group, but with the less number of elimination potential, especially in this group, as well as how they're performing even on the team versus team in the early parts of this map, it will be tough for NA Level F.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Now, guys, we've got one more giveaway code coming up for you guys, but it's only going to be when we come back from a quick short break. So don't go anywhere and be on standby to take that screenshot. When we are back, you'll be able to see the code flashed on the screen. Welcome back, survivors. This is the Free Fire US Championship 2025. 2 more games to go here for Group B, but as promised, we've got the giveaway coming up for you guys. My name's AJ. I'm the Mustache down here with Neptune the Gentleman Garcia, keeping our word to you guys. So without further ado, 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Yeah, definitely. This is the code for the next giveaway. And again, first 100 players can redeem this or will redeem this. And only 1 item per player. So there's no hogging. There's no spamming of those codes. And as well as redeem this within the broadcast. But I think that will not be an issue. But for those of you redeeming, especially those jumping in, make sure that you have the site on, which is reward.ff.garena.com to be able to get those redemption code entered.
Absolutely. And all of these items are exclusive. So if you're not on this broadcast, if you're not a part of the 100 players who are redeeming this code, you are not going to be able to just hop on into the game and purchase them with your money or the coins that you've got in your game. You will only be able to get them through these redemptions. So don't miss your opportunity. We've got more giveaways coming on this broadcast as well. So don't go anywhere. 2 matches, once again, have been completed. The first one from Motion Gang as they made their way into the final circle. Second game, 5 stars have made their comeback. After being the first team eliminated in the Purgatory map, they are back in it to rock it on Alpine. They walked away with a Booyah. Good on them. Question is, can these 2 teams make it a double Booyah of the day, or could we even see 3 out of them? Because I know Motion Gang was trying to pull a T-Rex on us today, Neptune.
Definitely. I mean, they want to go in for survivability. They managed to do that halfway through, almost eliminated, came back a little bit stronger, but not too strong to go against 5 stars. But I'm just looking forward to another team just showing up this time around. I know that 5 stars as well as a Motion Gang has already taken their spot for the knockout stage, but we want to see more. Any level F, if they can break through that 18th spot with a Booyah and a decent amount of points for Solara, then they might be our next team to join us on the knockout stage. But for now, an A level F will still be at the bottom of the leaderboard, so hoping that they will be in a good run this time around.
Yeah, and once again, BBC News as well as Gavilanes, unfortunately, have been eliminated from the competition. They will not be performing at the knockout stages. Unless, of course, one of the teams that do qualify pulls out for some weird reasons. But you never know, man. Maybe Gavilanes has got like some grace of God. They make a prayer and then a team says, you know what, our top fragger, he just lost his mobile phone or something. I don't know what the heck is going to be. But of course, as we set up Bermuda once again, this is going to be an opportunity for MTG to try to match up to T-Rex, but they need 40 massive points to be able to do so. The next best thing they can do is pick up another 20 points to replace Rosario Central on the second spot. And 2 games in a row, FVS will be there. Well, it looks like more than FVS this time, looking for that high-tier loot zone. CDG dropping by to say hello, but they've got a little bit of a insurance policy with King, who's trying to drop outside, looking for some extra coins, as well as very close to the vending machine in Graveyard, in case the rest of his team members fail to control whatever FVS can bring out there.
Yeah, definitely. And then one thing, though, I mean, FBS did also drop into a high-tier loot area, and they grabbed Booyah from that map. So I guess this is the pattern that we will be seeing from 5 star at this point. And they already have a team that or a player that has been knocked down, but a quick pickup has been done on CDG. So let's see if the 3v4 will work out on them. Eric receiving a few of those damage coming from Talent. Paraphile in the hand, and Hockey very close behind. Mao right now, VSS not too shabby right now in terms of making those shots, but the knockdown is needed at this point. And almost right now, Talent finish off Kenny, but he won't be going down that easily.
Yeah, well, Kenny has the talent, but in that situation, Talent just was the better talent. A good knockdown, but the pickup is just going to be absolutely impossible as Hockey finishes the job with the SMG. And now Team FVS on the back foot. And this is just absolutely shocking because CDG actually dropped with 1 player outside near towards Graveyard, and the late rotation being made by him as they catch player after player. CDG just putting the players of 5 stars 6 feet under. Hockey sprayed down to the ground, but of course nothing that they cannot recover from as they take down the final player of 5 stars down and out of this site here in the high tier loot zone. So Observatory now belonging to CDG as Kenny makes his way away on foot.
Yeah, it's tough though for Kenny because yes, he had been revived, but there's no more space for him in Observatory and needs to move in probably on Rimnam Village, where in the next or the nearest vending machine or revival platform will be available. But the risk there is we have a few teams already hanging back in there. Might spot 5-star or Kenny in his approach, and he might be going down. But on the other side, Cape Town, we have CLG and King from On Style will try to move away that easily from the team, from the opponent, using that zip line. So he is free for the moment. Let's see if anyone will go for the engagement.
Oh, Rail G! Ooh. Not looking like a Rail G at this point of time. Ooh. As they come up against NA Level F, going in for the final shutdown. 18 Duck holding on for his dear life. And with the Thompson, gets a double spray down. Rotating around, can he get a pickup onto one of his team members? Looking for the final shutdown, but in the meantime, NA Level F getting those pickups completed. Ooh! And 18 Duck once again, Vicious on the attack, single-handedly controlling the whole squad. But thankfully, McQueen was left in here for the pickup of his squad, goes in for the final bullet in the coffin, and NA Level F comeback gameplay here, Neptune.
Oh, definitely. I mean, this is what they need right now to really come back and bring themselves on 18 spot. Real G was so tough in that battle. And I guess the name 18 Duck really is trying to live up to the name, to that IGN. Because you know how it is. Like 18 Duck, 18 Deer, the Clutch King from Southeast Asia. Well, I guess that's what he is inspired of. So let's see if that's one thing that we will see more from them. For Tonyo, they will be moving into Keraton. No one to meet them at this point. But Kenny has been taken down. But for 5-star, they are still alive and kicking. And I guess Rekka, the Wrecker, will still be back in play.
18 Ducks definitely taking inspiration from the right player. Let's not forget 18 Deer was the clutch master at the Esports World Cup last year.
Oh, yeah.
And this year, he just managed to win out of nowhere as the underdog squad, the FFWSC title for Onyx Olympus, right? 18 Deer has had such a crazy journey on his esports career thus far. So yeah, 18 Duck definitely taking the inspiration from the right guy out there. But as we focus down onto Tonyo, this is one of those teams that have been surprisingly decent with their approach here. And because Tonyo, what a shot, man! Jump shot, M590. Obviously, Riot stood no chance to play up against him. And Rakusita from afar sprays him down. Great playback here. And now the squad of Tonyo in a little bit of a trouble zone.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Jason will be left behind. Freestyle right now. Moving in. What movement on a vehicle. Just dodging all those walls. And I can't do that. Most of the time I hit a rock and I'm stuck. But on the other side, we are seeing CLG getting their 6th elimination. A recovery, though, has been done for Tonyo, and they will be back in play. In a few, we are going to see the next phase of the circle, or the first phase of the circle closing in. But battle is still on for the 8 teams remaining.
Yeah, CLG is definitely one of our top squads here that we can expect to bring in some decent performance during our knockout stage next week. So looking forward to seeing how they fare there. There's no way in hell they get eliminated from the top 18. They're just way too high up the leaderboard. Tonyo, on the other hand, as well, a little bit closer down towards the bottom, but how much of a risk are they at losing this spot? Not too much at all, because they've put on a decent number of points. My question is basically on style. How much more can they bring in? Who else can they take down on this journey? Freestyling out of there. Had the sports car in hand. No Riptide Rhythm taking him down just yet. Ooh. On the ground, and Drakusita, big brain play. with the FGL, burns him through the glue wall. That was just absolutely beautiful of a finisher.
Yeah, definitely absolute cinema at this point. He knows that he can pull out that FGL just to make sure that he doesn't recover that quickly, and they did. Now, you have CLG right now, the elimination leader at this point. Hack just moving in for the pickup because they need to move fast because the blue will be closing in. For FBS 5-star, Rekka, after being revived by Kenny earlier, is in a, well, not so much of trouble though, but needs to pick up so much of coins, but does have that revived platform, so he could have just taken that because I don't think anyone would be meeting or doubling back to take him out.
Nah, not at this point. CLG fighting Tonio once again. 1,900 coins in the pocket of Hack alone. CLG stacked with the eliminations here. And Gomez Rio picks up yet another one for his squad with the AWM in hand. Tonio snuffed out. Tonio from Tonio taken out, which means you know they're going to struggle, man. Their main players out of the equation. The player whose team got created after. But of course, Jason is ducking away with that homer, and CLG not suspecting a thing. In fact, they're actually looking for the zone, looking for the circle. They're going to make that rotation. First, Tonio has an opportunity for recovery.
Let's see, though, if they can recover that easily because CLG is still on their way. But on peak, we have CLG going for the flank. MTG Motion Gang is just waiting, chilling right now onto the edge of the circle, but it will be closing in on them in a bit. But I guess they have information already. They're just waiting for another team to move in before they go with the motion of the flow of the circle. But this is what they've been doing quite well, and in their approach they might be seeing on style as well. So not quite sure what the ideation of on style is. They're like going far away from the next phase of the circle, so even if they meet up with MTG, there's still a risk that they will be going down because of the double damage that they will deal with later.
And MTG Vitadori down on the ground here as he gets sprayed down, but the pickup is pretty much instantaneous. And on style, unfortunately, coming up across the MTG squad, the big dogs themselves on style struggling to hold on. Unfortunate for them, they are about to be crushed out of nowhere because MTG leaves no scraps. And now the turnaround out of nowhere, the M590 straight to the chest. Vitadori desperately trying to pick up the rest of his team members, and from the corner of the wall with the MP40 goes for the spray on King, desperately trying for something. They need a frag grenade in those glue walls right now, Nap.
Yeah, let's see if they can pull it off. But Motion Gang is still in motion, still surviving, and Saber will be taken down. Itadori, the only remaining. It's a good thing that Maze will save him a little bit. Also, with plenty of coins to deal with, very near to the vending machine, he will be able to go for that revive. But On Style is really battling in style at this point. I was questioning why they're heading into peak away from next phase of the circle. I guess this is the answer.
Holy shit, On Style is desperate to hang on here and make it back into the competition and not be eliminated. They want to play the knockout stage, and this is a version of On Style that we have not seen so far in the competition. What a play, and what a phenomenal stand-up performance up against MTG. But not enough to snuff out the full squad just yet, and a partial squad recovery coming on through from MTG on that double revival. We'll catch up with On Style once again later on. The circle is starting to hurt a little bit more. They need to be careful now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, with the points that they have already, they have 4. They've already taken the spot for Dark Hunters, but for Zeus, he will be taken down by Gomez Rio with that AWM. So this prompts 5-star to move away, to go in for a double a turn, and let's see if they'll be able to spot one. Kenny right now very far from CLG, as well as the one player from NA Level F. But NA Level F, they were able to go in for a revive for their teammates, but Eric goes down as well. So it is Roberto will be taking down Lopez on the other side from MTG against Antonio, but going back into CLG. Edge of the circle, need to deal with a 5-star, and not only that, a few more players from Don Chui.
I mean, Wrecker just got wrecked by Hack, but of course, that's the level 3 Scar there. Makes more noise than the damage, but the damage is pretty solid as well. But OnStyle, once again, tethering on the 18th spot, making sure they don't get eliminated by the efforts of NAF, because we saw NA level F slowly inching back into the competition earlier on, and OnStyle knows the kind of risk that is awaiting them if they don't bring out those numbers. And as I talk about numbers, Tonio unable to put on more on the leaderboard as they get eliminated in the 8th spot.
Yeah, Tonio only 1 point behind Team Fighters from Group A. So I guess if they did manage to get 2 points, they're already moving up onto the leaderboard. For 5-star, Kenny, once again, the final member for the team, will need to bring back their teammates. But we have Don Chui, 2 elimination already, have stayed so long in one spot before they got into this final few circles. And 13, bringing bad luck to NAFF Melyod. And let's see if it will increase their chances of getting the Booyah.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And we got 2 more games, including this one, and we are almost to the final phase of game number 7. The day is ending too early, Neptune, and I think there's just so much more chaos for us to consume out here. We'll have to just wait until the knockout stage to be entertained by all of those shenanigans. Don't you now? I think this is a very risky play from the squad, because not only are they split up, Hack is going to be in a position where he can pretty much undo whatever split push this squad is bringing on into this battle. And they're outside the circle at this point of time, so they need to move. And as I say that, the circle tags them up and uses the Rebel Rush to avoid the blue. But I guess it helps him have a little bit more HP on him.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, survivability, that is one thing that Rebel Rush will give you. For talent, AWM goes in for the tag, but no takedown just yet. And Don Chui has been a target by a lot of teams, especially when they started off those shots from the compound. CLG against CDG. This is something that brings us back from yesterday, but most of the time it was CLG who's winning those battles.
Yeah, absolutely. And CDG, if Talon continues to snipe like that, he's going to run out of bullets and get no eliminations. That's
like me.
It's an unfortunate bout of snipes. It's okay. We'll pretend we did not see that, CDG. CLG, on the other hand, 13 eliminations. They want more! And Mao finally delivers. VSS, just a knock onto the head. The recovery is instantaneous, though. The wraparound from the bottom. CDG wants a fight, and they want these points. Sao from Don Chui fighting a knockout there as well. Try to convert it onto an elimination is going to be a little bit of a challenge. Drakusin makes one good mistake, and CDG takes advantage of that. Hack with the MP40. Down on the ground, out of nowhere. Talon with the talentful toss off that frag grenade. And the finisher, CDG, puts CLG 6 feet under. What a play!
Cartel de Golfo moving in, but Sanchez from behind, and a level F going in for the fight, but unfortunately he has been taken down by Blex. Now he is really blessed at this point, because he will be able to go and take shots on CDG, who's running with only a few HP, and on style, definitely on style this time around. 13 elimination and a full squad.
And a level F. What a performance here in Game 7. Desperately trying to pick up enough points to climb the leaderboard, to kick on out of the top 18, out of the knockout stage next week. But it might just seem like this hustle is a little bit too late, Neptune. OnStyle is still alive in here in the top 3, and look at this performance. 13 eliminations. Unbelievable stuff from OnStyle.
And this is what happens when you are in the final day. Hopefully they greet every day as a final day, but Pana has been taken down by Talon. M82B and King will be knocked down as well. Flash will not be that flashy at this point, and CDG, 2 players still going in on our rampage. Mao needs to recover, and Talon will just go and turn around, hit Flash with that 180 while Mao 7 is recovering. That is pure support gameplay being done by CDG at this point, just alternating and taking shots and recovering, and this is how they survive.
Yeah, the double sniper setup here from CDG, Mao and Talon. Earlier on, they weren't hitting those shots, but this time in the final circle, it's a different story altogether. And now a 2v1! Make that a 2v9 as CDG hits a massive booyah!
Yeah, definitely a massive booyah. They might not have performed this much on Alpine, but once it comes to the OG map, they are bringing it on. And this is what we love to see. Imagine 18 points from Purgatory. Yes, only 3 points from Alpine, but this time with that booyah, a lot of points has been gathered by the team.
And production just knows it, man. The first highlight that we get on this replay is CDG shut in, CLG down. Beautiful stuff out there. Once again, CDG, initially with those snipes, they were not making any damage whatsoever towards CLG, but it was the big brain rotation under the bridge, frag grenade, Trogon to the chest, M590 as well, that just wrecked CLG. And with this game, I believe CDG is going to be able to make a good climb up the leaderboard. And guess what, Neptune? The first booyah of the group stage here for CDG as well. They have to be proud of themselves.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is one thing that they were looking for even from yesterday, but at some point it is tough, especially when you have Motion Gang, we have FBS 5-star making those run a little bit harder for them to move up. But this is where all those effort, all those homework, all those like practice as already culminating, because CDG, not only are they getting that booyah, but they have moved up even against FBS or 5-star in that leaderboard.
Yeah, that's crazy. And you know, I talked about this as being the first booyah for CDG. CLG does not have a booyah just yet, so maybe the final game we can see some action from them. But Talon, he definitely has talent, right? 9 eliminations, 3 assists, 3,231 on the damage. Very concise gameplay from him. A single headshot. I want to see more from the sniper. Rocking the M82B, has got the steel shell to protect his back, reducing the damage a little bit. Brings in the iris, very good for a sniper. And you see that Raphael there as well. The Tiva does not belong in this mix of passive skills, but we will allow him to bring the Tiva in. I guess what North America is thinking is, yes, we do need the sniper build, but this is also a very aggressive lobby. Every single player needs to be able to help each other out in a dire situation. He brings it in, good for him. And a comparison between CDG and OnStyle, X-Talent versus Pana, Neptune.
Yeah, I mean, a 9-4 in terms of elimination, it's a huge lead, but we've seen how OnStyle has been performing that well. It's not just Pana who is moving up. 13 elimination last time I saw them, and a lot more when they went into that final battle. But in terms of damage, though, I know that Pana is this guy that will bring in a lot more of points for OnStyle. So, well, this is where we go into the head-to-head for the team. OnStyle against CDG. In terms of elimination, they're quite balanced. In terms of damage, they brought in a lot. But the only difference is OnStyle recovered a few of their players, 4 of their players, compared to CDG, who didn't even bother to bring back any of their players despite of losing some of those gunfights.
Yeah, crazy stuff, man. And, you know, damage-wise, I think OnStyle did so well this time around. But, of course, overall stats, 16 eliminations for CDG to cut the distance between them and CLG. Because their names sound so similar, we've got a rivalry growing on between them. For a total of 63 eliminations, this lobby was a massive one. We saw so many engagements, 30 total rescues. You know, those revivals were quite a number there as well. So we did see quite a number of points being ripped away by the end of the game. 17 grenades in total use, 82 knockdowns. What a massive game. And of course, massive points for the teams out there who could hustle in the right way. And I want to see exactly where OnStyle is on the overall leaderboard later on as well. Now, a total of 5 teams have crossed the double-digit mark, and CDG with a massive 28 to top everything else off.
Yeah, I mean, CDG right there, 28 points. OnStyle, 22 points. Good improvement. Great effort for OnStyle. CLG, 20 points. And, they just hang on quite well from that battle. Don Chui, I mean, despite of how we question their position, they always surprise us with winning some of the engagement. Now they have a lot of placement points that brings them to the third and a decent amount of elimination and a level F. They started off hot going in against 18 Duck and the team, and now we have the overall standings. And OnStyle, as you are looking for, they are on 12, very close to get 11 later on.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my lord, look at this. CLG, CDG, the 5th and 6th spot. Only 1 point now separates them. But of course, props to CLG for still hanging on. Although they have no Booyahs to their name, they are just 1 point less than CDG when it comes to the placement points. And they are 2 points above them when it comes to the eliminations. And that's exactly what makes up the difference between the two teams. Very, very close to each other. But we also want to look now at that 18th spot. From the 16th to the 18th spot, it is just all out Group A. So NA level F that's trying to sneak into the top 18 here now is not competing against any other teams in Group B. They are literally competing against the performance of Group A. They should be able to calculate, they should be able to know exactly how many points they need to get into the top 18, and NA level F is currently literally at the bottom of the leaderboard, Neptune. In order to get this done, how many points? They need 25 points. Problem is, they've got one more game to go.
Yeah, I mean, one more game to go, and it's tough. Though they did perform well from the previous map, I believe it's something that's a little bit too late, but the hopes are still on them. I mean, 13 points from earlier. If they just have to survive a little bit longer. It's not just Sanchez who needs to be on a final circle. The rest of the teams need to do so. And I guess one mistake that NA Level F is doing is they're dropping in with the rest of the teams a little bit too late, wherein once you look at the flight path, you can just go either side. You don't have to go towards the end before you drop. Just go in either side of that flight path and you might be safe. That is what MTG has been doing. That is what 5-Star has been doing. So let's see if NA Level F will do it, because so far what we've done all throughout the day is to give out the giveaways.
Absolutely. Reward.ff.garena.com. That's exactly where you need to go in order to be able to redeem this. In 3, 2, 1, go! First 100 players get to redeem this item. Only 1 item per player, and each item is only available during these broadcasts. You will not be able to purchase them in-game. You can only redeem them, so make sure you get it for yourself. Get it to some of your clan members as well. Make sure they get that redemption done, because it's only for the first 100 players, all right? More than that, unfortunately, you will see that this code is invalid. So be quick about it.
Yes, and also, if you're just watching the replay, unfortunately, you won't be able to redeem all of those. So this is a reminder for those just watching the replay for later on. Make sure that you always tune in on the broadcast. But speaking of tuning in, we are tuning in on who's getting that final Booyah for this day in Zolara, because so far, one for each map one team for each map is taking those Booyahs.
Yeah, man. And of course, the big question is whether or not MTG is going to be able to catch up to T-Rex. In order for them to be able to do that, we need to see a massive game out of MTG. We need to see the Booyah. We need to see 29 eliminations or something along those lines for them to be able to outdo T-Rex. But of course, outdoing Rosario Central could be quite a big boost in terms of confidence for this team as well. That's what MTG is looking for. CLG versus CDG. This is another storyline as well, Neptune. between these two teams. Very similar in names, very similar in battle style, very similar in performance as well. One thing that separates them is that Booyah, and 1 point between these two teams, and we've got one final game to call the difference between them. There's no repercussions, even if either one of these gets eliminated early. It's just a little embarrassing at this point.
Yeah, I mean, the challenge, the rivalry, if you lose that, especially in this final day of the group stage, well, it might also serve as a motivation once it goes to the knockout stage. But how CLG is, as we often say, they are performing quite well. So no Booyah, no problem.
Amen.
They are still above the rest of the teams.
Yeah, I mean, our minds are always in sync, right? I was about to highlight that as well. The top 9 teams, CLG is in the 5th spot, and they have got no Booyahs. The rest of the 9 teams at least have 1 Booyah to their name. So you are most definitely right, sir. No Booyah, no problem for CLG. But of course, the rivalry between CLG and CDG, we will get to see exactly where that goes here on the Solara map. A map where no teams have managed to find dominance and full clarity on. We're still very new to the introduction of this map into the esports rotation, even into our competitive rotation out there for ranked matches as well. So let's see exactly how these teams fare out there. I like the fact that not many teams have dominated Solara or fully learned it like the back of their hands just yet, because that opens up the grounds for even teams like NA Level F, who are looking for a massive, massive jump up the leaderboard.
Yeah, let's see though who's going for that jump, because so far from yesterday's game, they have played this map, and it was MTG who managed to grab that Booyah. But like compared to the elimination that they have for the other matches, they were decent. They were just doing quite fine. But for FVS, 5-star and CDG, both of them has listened to us. Both of them has quite done a great performance for this day, and both of them are dropping in the high tier loot zone.
Absolutely. And 5 stars wanted to give themselves 5 points. Unfortunately, CDG only has 4 players unless they hit that revival, and then they rip away 5 instantaneously. Zeus, very low, has the Drogon in hand, but instantaneously wrecking his opponents. Wrecker still up on his feet, though. Talent from afar. And it looks like 5 stars are going to be able to catch CDG very early on. Remember, CDG was 1 point behind CLG? Yeah, this is that embarrassment I was talking about. Bye-bye, CDG, says 5 stars.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they've seen this before, probably for both teams. For CDG, they survived and brought down 3 of the players from 5 stars. Thus, they were confident to go in for this engagement. But we're talking about different map, different possibilities, probabilities in terms of loot that you are getting. But as we look into Don Chui, quite a good performance from previous. But let's see if they'll be able to do it against Real G, because Real G are the ones who fell down a little bit too early from the previous map.
Yep, absolutely. And without CDG in the race here, CLG 1 point ahead of them can now aim for that Booyah, just to say that we are definitely better than you. Because if they don't, then CDG obviously still has a flex on them. Of course, being the first team eliminated, CDG can only sit back and watch. The next time we get to see them be in a little bit of a competition up against each other is going to be next week. So make sure you guys join us here, same time, same place, for the knockout stage, where the top 18 teams will do battle over 2 days for us to find the top 12 that will move on into the grand finals. Real G, it was a real disaster for them in the previous match as they got eliminated early. Let's see what they can do this time round now.
Yeah, let's see that. Let's see if that's one thing that we have been done. Now, for Real G, they are moving away from those engagement. They don't want to risk it because they don't have any information all information from their opponent. On style, though, they will be moving solo at this point, but Bayside would be their dropping spot. They also are hanging in onto the edge of the circle, but this is where Real G will be moving out on, and they might meet up on an engagement. And a level F onto the edge of the zone as well in Aquarium, no contention. But as we go back on style, Real G also and a level F on the same spot.
A little bit of a correction here. NA Level F doesn't need 25 points. I had my math all wrong there. I need to go back to school for this one. They're actually 18 points away from grabbing that 18th spot away from Dark Hunters. Now, this is a good thing here, because 18 points is very doable. Whether it's doable for NA Level F is definitely questionable, because they've only got 39 points out of 7 games. So asking 18 from one game might be pushing it a little bit. But this is Battle Royale, Neptune, and you never know exactly when you're going to have a good day out there.
Yeah, definitely. And if they can repeat what they did earlier, survive a little bit longer compared to what they had earlier from Bermuda, like 5 more points, because they had 13 points earlier, 5 more points, and they will be able to do it. But for CLG right now against 5-star, Drakusita takes down the King Zeus, and they move in. And this is where that slide rail will be a savior for them. Quite quick to go for a rotation, and CLG just putting in a lot of damage.
Yeah, this is definitely a double flex from CLG. We are shutting down the team that eliminated you. And it looks like the jump pad is going to be used to go in here for the super hunt. Kenny17 running away as quickly as he can. Has the assault rifle, and Drakusita makes a huge mistake. Hack wanted to take the jump pad as well, but changed his mind last second because he doesn't want that fall motion to come through in play once again, and for him to drop the ball as well. And CLG Hack getting in here. Gomez Rio catching up with the rest of the team members as well. Looking for the final member of 5 stars. But in the overall grand scheme of things, the flex onto CDG to tell them that the team that shut you down was no competition for us at all will put a smile on CLG's face.
Flex overall by CLG. I mean, this is, I love the storyline between them, but, well, 5 stars already out. The second team to be taken out from this final game. And on the other side, we have Don Choi, who still managed to just traverse through the edge of the circle. But for NA Level F, they just don't need to traverse. They need to elevate themselves at this point. And they are going against a team that has performed quite well on the previous match, which is OnStyle.
Absolutely. And the fact that he said that, I wanted to say that maybe OnStyle has used up all of their luck for that previous match, because that was quite a massive game for them. Maybe NA Level F has got some magic potion in here that they have not used up just yet. Blacks with the shots from afar. The XM8 does give you a decent amount of damage. Accuracy's great as well. Flash spray down to the ground and eliminated. NA Level F starting off great here. And now they've got a numbers advantage. Meliod making sure he sneaks away. And the cover fire from the rest of the members on the side of NA Level F keeps their team members safe. So the first part of this equation has been done already. They need one more takedown to really guarantee a good engagement up against OnStyle here.
Yeah, let's see though if they'll be battling this with style. King taken down. Vicioso very vicious with that SKS. A pick up not yet being done, but Sanchez will feel that wrath from 18 Duck, and it's not coming from OnStyle. It's coming from Real G, who's creeping in from behind.
Yeah, I mean, obviously NA Level F did not expect another squad in here, but it's Battle Royale, bro. You gotta expect things like this. 18 Duck flying straight in for the fight, and it looks like he might have just made a little bit of a mistake here for himself. And Real G with a reposition, looking for one for himself. Coda popped already. 18 Duck knows the position of all the NAF players, and the info gets relayed over. And OnStyle is actually watching all of this breakdown. In the meantime, they play the full squad recovery.
Ooh, 18 Duck right now. Great shot through the window, through the wall, and they're still dealing with NA Level F. So Real G doing a little bit of multitasking right now. Hopefully they will remain focused on one team and then deal with the next one. But it's difficult, especially when you're this close already and you have been spotted from afar. So the rest of the teams from Real G, 3 players already moving slowly. No knockdowns because of those from those throwables, and they will be blocked as well by the glue wall.
Oof. This is a risky play here by NA Level F. Josue makes one good mistake here with the Mag 7. Spray down to the ground. And NA Level F just holding their ground in here. Shutting down player after player that shows up. And Don Chui out of nowhere. Shutting down a player from the side of Real G. And that gives them the assistance that they desperately need. NA Level F right now. 3 eliminations in hand. They need 15 more points here, Neptune. Surviving long enough is one part of it. They need a few more eliminations.
Yeah, let's see, and they're trying to get it from on style right now. It's taking them a while, but let's see if they'll be able to pull it off. Real G knocked on their door, but they're the ones that got hit when it opened up, and they also felt Don Chui. So we know that Don Chui is also near in this area, and we might be seeing a 4, but that glue wall blocking that snipe. Well, a little bit of help will not be bad, especially on how NAFF will need to survive longer.
Yeah, could have been a misclick there because clearly he was trying to get ahead and dropped a glue wall by accident, blocked his own shot, and obviously that. I mean, no negative impact of that glue wall being pulled out. Just a waste of resource at this point of time. But NA Level F still keeping an eye on style. Rail G came, Rail G left, but these two still eyeing each other.
Let's see though if it will end here. Will anyone bring down any team right here, or will this just be waste of resources as well as time? For Don Chui, we have Insano on Hunt on NAFF. This is where he managed to take hits on Real G, pushing Real G away from Casa Vista. But we see the circle already closing in, and let's see as to where they will get positioned because they will be hidden a bit.
Yeah, this NA Level F needs to literally get out of the space right here, right now. In 25 seconds, the circle is going to pressure them, and that's not the problem. The fact is they are going to be gate kept by OnStyle, who has been watching them for about 10 minutes now. And that is going to be the complication here. OnStyle still has got no eliminations. NAF, on the other hand, has managed to pick up 3 in total. 2 of that came off of OnStyle. So I'm very sure these boys want some revenge.
Yeah, definitely revenge they want, and let's see if they can grab it. For Real G right now, recovery on Jojam, and need for Alex because the vending machine is in TV Tower, but it is being occupied by Tonyo with a full squad. So let's see if they'll be able to sneak in, but Coda has been popped. They have been seen, and Joshua will be in trouble from all sides. He's been shot, and he is going down.
Mistake with the initial glue wall, and then panic plays from him. The MP40 could not save his life. Antonio picks up their first elimination, all thanks to that panic play. And obviously, he was away from the rest of his team members. I once took a drop into TV Tower, and I tell you, I got 8 eliminations back-to-back, Neptune. I was playing a solo match, so it was a great game. Now, a guy headshotted me out of freaking nowhere, man. Trauma at the TV Tower.
I know where he came from. You know where there's 2 towers, literally, one with the globe and the other one with tower? A lot are dropping in there. There's loot available in there, so it's quite tough. You don't know where to look. It's not just sideways. You need to go vertically as well in spotting the opponent. So I often use a Coda, but it's tough to get those shots up in those towers.
Yeah, man. I mean, at this point of time, I'm at a level in the game where getting information is not enough. I need to improve my skills. What's the point of seeing your opponent if you can't shoot them down? Gotta sharpen that one up for sure. And CLG off screen fighting Tonio. And they managed to pick up yet another point courtesy of Gomez Rio. CLG still pretty much in action here. Rubbing salt into the wounds of CDG that got eliminated early. Hey, we can still pick up points. And guess what? The next circle is for us as well.
Well, OnStyle and NAFF, it has been dragging in for quite some time, and Flex going in for the flank already. M249 in hand, so pressure from behind plus 3 in the front, and Level F would be in trouble unless they take down Blex, and then they go for the rotation.
This is crazy. Now, once again, they have gotten a knock onto a player from the side of OnStyle. And Blex on that rotation, on that flank, is not really helping out the squad! What a headshot from Sanchez! Blex down on the ground, and that's exactly what we talked about. That flank probably not going to be on their side at all. McQueen with a Mag 7, hits on Pana right on the head, no save coming on through, and NA level F about to cook on Style Alive.
Let's see if OnStyle will be taken down quite easily, because so far they are the ones in the next phase of the circle, and NA level F just going in alternately for the push, and they only need to deal with Flash for the moment, and Flash goes down. On King will be knocked down by the play zone. Only Pana remains, who will be coming back from the revive flight, and NA level F is still alive and kicking with 7 elimination, who are going in for the 8th if they take down 13.
NA freaking level F, needing 18 points, already has 7 in their bag all through those eliminations. But now Circle and the pressure from the other teams. Real G taking shot after shot up against them. Melior on that pickup, but the Circle is going to put that damage right back in here. NA level F needs to make the quick rotation. They do that, but 18 duck with the AWM once again puts Melior down onto the ground if he wasn't already suffering here. Real G, 3 eliminations, and Gomez Rio gets a good shot right back in here, dropping Real G, and this is going to help the survivability of NA level F.
Yeah, definitely NA level F will still be alive, but it's only Sanchez right here who has that Dimitri that helped him heal up with a healing heartbeat as he go for the flank. But Sanchez will be taken down by Dracosita. Only 3 remains. And I think NA level F has brought in as much points as they need to take that 18th spot. But for Motion Gang, CLG, and Don Chui, they will be having a field day right now because they can hit anyone in this final circle.
NA level F teaching everyone a good lesson. Don't wait for the final game. Don't wait for the final moment to pick up these points. You need to be consistent. You need to be fiery from day one. Unfortunately for NA level F, I don't think they managed to pick up enough points to complete the 18 they were looking for. This was one of their best games when it comes to eliminations. But unfortunate, man, the hustle needs to be early. The hustle needs to be consistent. Hopefully, NA level F shows up much stronger in the next season. But now for this final circle. Once again, MTG looking for that Booyah. Can they pull away a massive one today to match up to maybe the shadow of the squad called T-Rex?
See though, I mean CLG is still on the run as well, and Motion Gang is not in prime location, especially a shift up the circle, so CLG can gatekeep them right now, and the blue will definitely hurt. So Dracosita as well as Gomez Rio will try to go and wait for them, but for Don Chui, despite of them losing Insano, Sao had a good shot AC-80 from the rooftop.
CLG looking for their first and only Booyah here in the group stage. Don Chui has 1 to their name. MTG has 3 to their name. 1 from today, 2 from yesterday. MTG looking for their 4th Booyah. CLG looking for their very first. Don Chui is just chilling on out there. Gomez Rio with the shot from afar. Guts down on the ground. Spilled out all over the place. Mom Spaghetti in it as well, for sure. And it looks like Don Chui ain't gonna be walking away with the Booyah this time round. A 4v4v1. Don Chui at this point of time is just a spectator.
Yeah, spectator indeed, unless they can take advantage, keep quiet and take advantage later on. But MTG, Motion Gang, already have information that someone is on the roof and will be taken down by Asta with an M590. 4v4 right now between CLG and MTG. The question is, who's going to take that Booyah?
MTG is just telling Asta, hasta la vista, baby. 4v4 now. Booking their final showdown up against CLG. A massive game for them. 16 eliminations. Dracosita, risky play here. FGL shot straight to his glue wall, but the M590 shot after shot, and he has got that electrotherapy on connection already. Backing up a player from right behind him, and Dracosita with the drop onto Javier. Asta taken out by Rio T and his Mag 7, and it is CLG for their very first Booyah off the group stage, and they do it in a massive way.
Definitely a massive way. A lot of elimination plus the Booyah after several matches, couple of days, and they are really showing that they have what it takes to go with the gang into the knockout stage. Gomez Rio, Hack, Dracosita, and Rio Whitey showing us how to end it strong.
Oh man, and of course the big question mark is still on NA level F. How many points did they pick up? I know they didn't get enough, but how many did they pick up? How many points will make NA level F players cry today because of how close yet far they were from the top 18?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't think it is enough because we were counting on how much points, and it's just tough for NA level F. But similar to what I often say, especially for those teams who didn't perform, who waited, who procrastinated until the final day, is it's good if they lose out on only a few points because you will definitely feel it and it will motivate you to improve further. If you're that kind of person, if you're that kind of team that would be motivated after losing with only a very few points, if in case.
Yeah. Procrastination is not meant for low performers, sorry guys. Procrastination is only allowed for high performers who know they can step on in final second and still get the deed done, like CLG. Final game of 8 matches and they finally bring in the Booyah in a massive way. And Gomez Rio, the MVP, rocking it with the AWM, a proper snipe. This is a sniper build, right? You walk in there with the Iris, you've got the Raphael, you've got the Awakened Moko, you have got so much of damage from afar, and at the end of the day, Maro gives you that range as well. You bleed people out with the Raph. This is exactly what Gomez Rio was doing all out in that match. Look at the damage, 4,951, all thanks to the AWM. 9 eliminations, 8 assists on top of that. This guy was doing so much out there.
It's good that he also bring in the Rocky because he'll be able to take advantage of that Iris for many instances in those fights. But for the head-to-head, it is Gomez Rio against Sanchez from NA level F. We've seen Sanchez survive from the previous map up until this one, but it might have been just a solo clutch or a potential for a solo clutch that is really tough for the team. So 9 and 5 elimination, and in terms of a head-to-head for the team, it's still the same despite of how they are positioned. The performance of NA level F is in a different level right now.
CLG is the T-Rex of Group B. And here we were all thinking it was the Motion Gang, it was MTG. No. MTG came out here. They did what they wanted to do. But CLG just kept it hidden away, just like T-Rex. They did not walk away with a massive Quadra Booyah of the day, but they have done in 41 eliminations. Overall stats here. Out of the 41 eliminations, 20 for CLG. 50% of the eliminations went to one team, and that was CLG. How crazy is that, Neptune?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, CLG showed up this time around a little bit different, and this is what we love. I mean, we already saw Motion Gang as well as 5-star from yesterday, and CLG was just hanging afloat. But they are the ones, in terms of performance right now, they're the ones with potential of doing so much more in knockout stage. A lot more of information is available from all of the teams, especially as we are about to end Group B. And this is where we're going to see CLG, or a chance for CLG to really rocket onto the knockout stage. 32 total points, 20 elimination, and it's very far from what NA level F has brought in from this map.
I mean, I know NA level F is disappointed, but I am beyond disappointed with NA level F, because if this is what they could do, then this is what they should have been doing from day one instead of waiting for the final moment, and they lose out on the knockout stage, which is 4 points. And obviously, with the way they were playing today, it's very clear NA level F knows how to survive. They know how to rotate. They know how to get those headshots. They know how to bring those points in. But they just slacked off a little bit too much, man. But of course, the highlights once again for CLG. 13 points behind, overtaking this team called T-Rex. MTG below them, and they have got lesser Booyahs than MTG and T-Rex. How insane is that? But 82 eliminations, just 4 eliminations behind T-Rex. We have got a damn good knockout stage awaiting all of us. We were thinking the highlight was just for player JK, but Dracusita and Gomez Rio from CLG just came out of absolutely nowhere to steal the spotlight here from Group B.
Definitely. And one thing that I'm eyeing out on right now is the 18th spot. So no replacement for Dark Hunters. And this only means NA level F didn't meet the cut. With only 3 points difference. This would be a huge disappointment. But again, as I mentioned earlier, hopefully this doesn't end for NA level F. This is a good motivation indeed, because if they did 3 or 4 points from the earlier matches, they're already in, because Dark Hunters has no say in that point. But it's just unfortunate. They end up they perform quite late, and they did perform. It's not that they really slack up, and that's what happens in the final day of a match or of a tournament, or probably stages, because that's where they get all those adrenaline that could have shown up a little bit early.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And of course, if you look at the past games for NA level F, they had an average of 5.5 points per game. So managing to pick up 14 in this match clearly shows there was hustle, there was determination. But you want to know what? You guys were hustling. You guys were determined for the showdown here as well, for the redemption. So once again, reward.ff.garena.com. We'll flash the code for you guys on screen right now. Get your screenshot. Get your item here for yourself. Do we have more for you? I guess you'll have to wait and see, Neptune.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a lot more that has been provided, not only in terms of entertainment, in terms of learning new tactics, in terms of finding out what North America or USA has to offer in terms of Free Fire gameplay, but also with the rewards right here. And it's been a while that we have been given a chance, a privilege to make the viewers happy with rewards just like this. So hopefully you take this in great advantage, not only for this broadcast, but also in the future ones that will be happening for the FFUSC.
Absolutely. And obviously, so much of hustle out there. You know, lots of disappointment in the hearts of the players who could not make it into the knockout stage. NA level F, very specifically, I'm highlighting this team because clearly in that final game, we saw so much of quality out of this team that we were not seeing in the other 7 matches. And if they could play every single game like if it was their final game, I think NA level F will not be at the bottom eliminated. They would be somewhere around the mid-tier table. And, you know, season after season, we can definitely see them climbing up higher and higher. But unfortunately, we'll have to wait until the next season to see more out of NA level F. But that still wraps up quite a bit of strong teams out here. Top 18, we've finally gotten a good list of them, and I think we're going to have quite a bit of fun next week, Neptune.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, 18 teams broken down into 3 groups, and in full rotation, they will be going in on the knockout stage. So that will be happening on the next weekend. So hopefully we see you there, because right now we're going to say goodbye, and whatever time it is on your region, we're going to say goodbye and see you next time. And Free Fire, let's battle in style.